made it.
Yeah, so close.
I looked for some at the dollar store, couldn't find anything with a gold star.
So, yep, you just get me today, no Justin, he is either in Levine or Broadview, I'm not sure.
Basketball.
Yeah.
Broadview.
So he is at the basketball tournament for his boy, so
Yeah.
hopefully they do well today. I guess it's only single elimination, right?
I'm not
So,
sure.
Yeah, they got a tough game right off the rip, I know that, they gotta play win it, so. And then I think if they win that, then they play Millstone. They haven't fared very well against Millstone so far, but never know. Tournament basketball, anything can happen, so. I'll give you the big part of this. I got the Cliff Notes version, so. Alrighty, so obviously you guys were in on the flood mitigation meeting and that.
Yeah. Should be.
Um,
Yeah. Probably a little late, but we were there.
Yeah, it still counted, so, you know, I think, I don't know how you guys reacted per se, but when we saw those figures, we about crapped our pants kind of things. $12 million for everything was kind of a shock, but I guess when you're gonna build a bridge and
Yeah, the
a
bridge.
new road
Well,
and
7.7, I always figured, I didn't think about, I always figured we were looking at about $4 million.
What you didn't think about.
I didn't
bridge.
think about a new bridge or anything.
Yeah.
right?
For where?
On number 4 road, so
Oh.
right at Pedrazi's there. So basically we would raise it up is what I understood, and then they would make it to where the water could go under it much easier kind of thing. And then we would like basically abandon number 4 road up to that spot, and then we would cut
Straight up.
across.
Straight up.
Yep, right to the
To the
highway,
highway,
so.
yeah.
Which, you know, we had talked about the cut across before, you know, so.
Emergency road.
Yeah, so I think that's a great idea, you know, obviously we're gonna have to get a little creative in
The funding wise,
figuring
but-
out the funding part, so.
But you know, yeah, you think about it. Yeah, I mean, I guess realistically, if the state, if you could get it down to a 9 to 10 and the state covers the 10,
Yeah.
you'd be okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
And that's the goal, I guess. But typically, they're 75-25.
most of the time, yeah. And, you know, like Justin was saying, this job security kind of thing for us, cause obviously this isn't gonna get done in the next year by any means, like, it's gonna be a process, like, you know, I assume we'll start with what they were talking about there, the levee or whatever you wanted to call it, that canal type thing.
Yeah, you know, protecting Roundup the north, the channeling.
Mm-hmm, the channeling.
But
there you go.
weren't they thinking of putting a levee in too?
At one point, they had talked about
They
that
talked
in the
about it,
previous
but that
ones,
wasn't
but that
the
didn't
final.
got, I guess not, yeah. And their modeling, that must not have worked out, I guess. It
A
was-
levy where though?
I'm not exactly sure where they were gonna put the levee, but they had just talked about it in previous meetings and that. So, but yeah, I definitely think, you know, doing the channel, you know, what did they say? Be like 30 feet wide, 5 feet deep kind of thing, you know, I think that's a great idea, you know, help keep the water
Yeah.
away from town.
I didn't like
you
the
know.
fairgrounds impact. but-
Yeah, yeah, we were coming up with all sorts of things when they were talking about that, right? What if we just move the fairgrounds? And I'm like, how big is everything? Like, we were trying to figure out how much acreage they use. Then we're trying to figure out different spots around town to where we could do something like that. It's like, yeah, that's not feasible. So, yeah, we can't divert the water to the fairgrounds. Like, that's,
Yes, yes.
that's not a good idea by any means.
No, and that's exactly what they were talking about.
Yeah, so there's been too much work done down there to do that. I mean, even if it's minimal, it's gonna be damaging and can't have that. So, I think if we basically, you know, we get the channeling done and figure out how we can do the bridge project and that, I think that would be a great start, so. And, you know, obviously one's the cheapest one and one's the most expensive project, so, you know, we kind of meet in the middle there.
Well, if you did everything but the bridge and the road, you know,
Yeah, cause that, I mean.
you
that was-
will have protected Roundup,
Pretty much.
so,
Yeah.
and that's, but anyway, I'm not saying you don't do the other.
Right, no,
But if you're to
it's-
prioritize,
yeah, I would think those two should be the high priorities of getting done first. And then, you know, by the time we get done with that, maybe they have a different idea of, you know, how to keep the water away from the fairgrounds and that, different options we could do maybe.
So who paid for this? Did Headwaters pay for this study?
Yeah.
So the next thing is now, the next piece of the study is funding sources.
Yep.
And then, you know, then it's actual execution.
Yep, and that was in my notes here from Justin or whatever, is to talk to you guys again about, I think he sent you a text or whatever about finding a grant.
Grant
person.
writer, yeah. Problem is who?
Right.
I mean, I don't think we would have a problem paying a grant writer even a decent salary, because you can justify, you get 1 or 2 grants you've paid for
Oh,
yourself.
100%, especially something.
But is that
this
person
magnitude.
available?
I have somebody who would be. My husband was an academic writer, he has his master's and everything, and we've been talking about him moving to a part-time job in Roundup instead of full-time in Billings. And I already asked him if he'd be interested in doing that, and he said absolutely.
Okay.
He could work from home, he could
Oh, yeah.
be here, we live here in the county, obviously. It's something he'd be more than happy to do, and writing and finding details is his forte.
Okay, well, and getting the right person,
Mhm.
but there's a different element, and I'd say you're not gonna get the other thing is you get somebody in and maybe they've got a little bit of a learning curve, but one of the most powerful things of grant writers is knowing where the grants are.
Exactly.
And their
Finding
network, there's a lot of relationships involved in this stuff.
And he
Yeah.
works at City College at the moment, but he's intertwined with the entire MSU system that way. So colleges get a ton of grants. He
Yeah.
does go to somebody there. They have entire departments just funded by grants.
Well, definitely, it's a good one, it's an issue that because that's cost benefit, that's a no-brainer.
Mhm.
And then say you hire somebody and they're not getting grants, well, then you know you got the wrong person.
Snowy Mountain can help too, right? I mean,
Well, yeah,
as
this
far as
person would
getting
be plugged into them,
Yeah.
you know, but Snowy Mountain won't write your grant.
them. Right,
They won't write it.
not anymore. Kathy Bailey died,
They want
unfortunately.
like $80 an hour to do,
Mhm.
but in a way, they do it anyway, like they helped us with the rear building.
Mhm.
And once this person gets on their feet though, if certain departments do wanna write their own grants, they can at least proofread it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it would be, like I said, it's really, yes, I think I agree, but that one is easy to justify. Look, we paid this person X per year and they got us Y in grants,
Mhm.
so.
And I mean, I'm sure Headwaters will figure something out to come up with a bulk of the funding. I mean, that's what they do, so. But for the rest of it, you know, cause like you were saying, the match is gonna be spendy. If we can get the state resiliency fund to cover it like they're doing with Swift Current, that'd be great, but, you know.
Well, let's say, you say, well, we got a 90-10 deal for the whole 12 million, well, it's 1.2 million bucks.
Mhm.
How does the county do that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially for smaller counties, I mean, it's impossible to do. I
But
mean,
my bigger point though is, do you realize that once you get this in place, you know, they say for every dollar you spend in mitigation, you save 6 in recovery and
Yep.
you will have addressed your flood problem for Muscatine County.
Sure.
It will be addressed.
Yep.
Your mitigations will be in place. I think that's a huge goal. And then my next focus, what about the fire mitigation?
Mm-hmm.
It all costs money.
Yep.
But at least you're doing the study. At least we're coming up with the plans.
Yep.
And I'm impressed with we got smart people working on it.
Yeah, Great West, I was pretty impressed with their whole modeling system that they were showing and everything. That takes some time to do, so I was pretty impressed with that.
You know, the last job I worked on, they wanted me to get involved in this modeling software. But it gets so complicated, it takes in an entire plant process, and then it simulates, and it'll tell you where your hang-up points are at different,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can optimize your process, but there's a lot of thought goes into modeling. And your modeling's only as good as the data that you put into it. So, but it can really be eye-opening when you go through that. those simulations.
Let's see, next on his deal was, EOP update, so.
Let me ask you one last question. Was there a solution to not flooding the fairgrounds?
Not yet.
But that kind of, we dropped that hint to them as,
Mhm.
can you look into
Yeah.
a way to either minimize or minimize what I already thought was supposed to be minimal impact,
Right.
but, minimize that.
Well, and I'm not sure, cause, you know, we had talked about, I wanna say it was right before the, bridge to the fairgrounds, they had talked about putting in like some giant, what was it, like a metal culvert type thing they were gonna do there. So I don't know if that was still an option, cause I don't remember them talking about anything like that. They called it like the armored deal, oh gosh. It was like our armored wall basically, but it would have a way of getting the water to still go through, like a built-in culvert to it, more or less. So, and that I don't believe was brought up during that, so, cause that was an option, because basically the water gets backed up because of all the little twists and turns in that. And if we did that armored deal, it was gonna basically give it the straight shot, so it wouldn't back up, basically.
So does this model assume the Milwaukee Bridge is gone?
That I don't know.
You know, maybe that has an effect that we don't know.
Could. Very well could.
You can throw that wrench in there, so you know your whole study's all in.
Right, you gotta redo everything now.
No, but it could, I mean, you know, because that, to me, that's another investment that we need to
Mm-hmm.
make. Okay,
Yeah, EOP update, apparently we do that every 5 years kind of thing, so Justin spent a couple days basically just going through it, rewording some things, updating some stuff,
EOP,
emergency operation plan,
okay,
so, basically just reformatting it, and changing a few things, but once he gets it to where he thinks it looks good, then he'll send it out to everybody for approval and that.
He already did.
Did he send it to you?
Yep.
Okay.
It looked good.
Yeah, so I read most of it. It's very long,
Very.
180 pages or something like that.
probably
so-
should be though.
Yeah. Cause remember when we talked about like the COOP plans and different things like that, the continuity of operations plans and that, you know, that stuff's in there. That's another thing we'll probably have to update here pretty soon, cause if I remember right, when we sent those out to all the different departments, we didn't get very much feedback, like.
And my guess you still did, the only downside to this is now it's educate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good thing, it's a good problem to have, but it sounds like Justin's, you guys have taken on the heavy lifting of saying, we need a comprehensive, complete EOP plan,
Yep.
updated, and you've taken a pass at that.
Yeah.
Is that in the review process where we would say, okay, everybody else review your part? Maybe set up some work sessions or something?
You know, I
I'm
should
trying to
look
make
closely
more-
to see who we all sent it to. I don't know if it, I mean, I knew it went to Holly, but I don't know
I
if
don't
we
think
sent
I've
it out
seen
to all the department heads. Let me look at my email real quick. So we sent it out to LEPC and
We're part of the LDPC, aren't
should be. So, and then he sent one to Cheryl Ramsey, Keith Salty, and Darren Gabhart were the extras on that.
we? Okay.
So, I'll double check the LEPC list, but yeah, you guys should be on that, cause you get the
But
calendar
we didn't get
invites.
one, I mean, I don't see that we got, when did he send it?
Monday.
one.
It was a Dropbox.
Tuesday.
Yeah, it was a Dropbox deal, so you have to click on it to go into it.
Okay,
But yeah,
Alright.
definitely go in and look over it, you know, anything you think that needs changed kind of deal.
yeah, here,
Let us
county EOP,
Yep.
I got it, but I think though that Yeah, he's gonna wanna get departmental engagement,
Yeah,
and
'cause-
short of that, you know, he's just gonna have the plan that he wrote, and most people, I just think it would be great to get the benefit of the hard work, to make sure what he's, even us included,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah, cause you know, like when we did those coop plans or whatever, you know, those things are great to know, cause if something does happen, like, you know, what happens if, you know, Tom gets sick again, who's in charge? What happens during an emergency, you know, who's the contact person for that department then, and all that stuff. They were, I believe, the only ones that responded back to us when we did it, so hopefully if we redo those, maybe we get a little more participation from all the departments kind of thing, you know. Obviously, you know, the sheriff's office, something happens to Sean, then it goes to, I think, Jason Bednar or whatever, and then so forth down the line. But for the other departments, something happens to Cheryl, you know, what happens then? Is Paula D next in charge kind of thing? Like, we don't know those kind of things, so. So I think he'll definitely send out those coop plans again. And when did she say our next department head meeting is January?
Yeah.
So when we send it out or whatever, I'll make sure in the email it says something along the lines of, you know, have these ready by the time we have the department head meeting. Gives them a little time, you know, a month and a half kind of thing before then, and then if they have questions, they can ask us at that meeting or whatever, or if they need help with them, you know. Cause we offered our help before for them or whatever, and nobody reached out, so, cause some of them were like, well, what is this even? So then we explained it or whatever, and then never heard again from them, so, which I understand, but.
No. It's hard work he's putting in, that you guys are putting in.
And then, for me this week, I've been dealing with more Busy Bee stuff.
Yeah.
So, I got a hold of Northwest Energy. They're gonna be coming down to basically get their transformer, pole, all that stuff out of there. We're just waiting again on the DEQ permit to come back. Should be December 1st is the earliest we would hear back. They said it takes a minimum of 10 days. And then we got to thinking, you know, again, we're doing this because where it's at, it's in the floodplain.
Yeah.
So I reached out then to Courtney and I said, I'm assuming I probably need a flood permit. So she gave me some guidelines of what I needed and that I would need like an engineer's analytic plan more or less. And so I said, well, who do you recommend that I reach out to? And she told me to contact Staley. So I did reach out. I have not heard anything back from them. I left a message for a couple different people
Have
and
you, Kathy Thompson?
that was not one of them. It was two different guys. So, but I'll look up her number and
Well, she's been dealing with Tom on some of these hydrocalcs for culverts and stuff like that.
okay.
So my gosh, you're gonna have to be waiting for them before you tear that building down?
Apparently, yeah.
For crying out loud, they're the ones who were part of it, right?
Yeah. I was
But-
like, I would
But
assume
actually,
this would
I
have
almost
been
think that would be a no-brainer though, because
Yeah.
you're basically saying that the whole reason you're tearing the thing down is for floodplain mitigation.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, it
So you're
should
not gonna be creating any future obstructions, and it may be just a
No.
matter of somebody, you would think Great West could do that, who was in charge of who helped administer the FEMA? Who helped administer that grant?
That was well, it was state DES, and then they got those people out of Louisiana for us. What's the company called again? Gosh, I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, it was that group
Well-
down there because they wrote the grant basically for us.
Okay, so I guess where I'm headed with is maybe a conversation with Courtney, said, how do we absolutely expedite this?
Yeah.
Because this is a no-brainer.
Right.
We don't wanna wait for somebody to reinvent the wheel with a massive study.
Yeah.
Because if there was something that recommended it be demoed to start with, to me, that would be the document that says, I think you're with me, but
Yeah. So, and I did reach out to the guy that's plans on doing the demo, and that just gave him a heads up of where we were at with things, and he was fine with it being delayed a little bit, just cause he had taken on some parking lot project or whatever, so.
Who did we pick?
Solon Contracting out of Molt, so they were the
Cheapest?
cheapest one, and when we sent off the recommendations to the state or whatever, they said to go with them, so. Which still kinda shocked me, just cause this was their first government project, more or less, so. And I assume, you know, he plans on doing as good a job as he possibly can, cause he knows if you screw up the first one, you're probably never getting another one, kind of thing, cause
He
you
might
get put
have
on your
had-
list.
He might have
so.
had the most honest proposal,
Yeah.
because you'll probably see that thing will be down in a day or a day, I mean, you know.
He made it seem like he could get, I think in his proposal, it said 10 days total for
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Clean up all that, so.
Yeah, the biggest piece of that is gonna be the dump fees.
Yep, and that's where he was able to cut into the cost because of the truck and trailer that he has is massive, I guess, so. Hopefully he can do it, cause, you know, we agreed to
Well,
what he did.
does he know what the other bids were?
He doesn't know all of them. I did ask what the next closest one was, and I told him it was 99,000, and he gave me the oh kind of thing. So, but
If he really thought he had a problem, he'd be talking to you guys saying, hey, I don't think
Yeah.
I can do this.
yeah, I mean,
Has he been in business a while
Yeah, they've been in business for a while, but this was just their first time
on demo?
dipping their pool or dipping their toe into the government pool, more or less. Like he's done plenty of demos before, so.
Hmm.
But
He knows what he can do then.
yep.
He's probably got a coolie he can dump all that in.
That was more or less what Florence said he would probably do, so if he'd have done it. But,
Dig a hole and bury it.
yep, exactly. So,
Burn
and
it,
then,
pick up the pieces,
what's that?
burn it, pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
You guys used that for a
Training.
training, didn't you?
Yes, they did the other night,
Check down some doors.
they did, yep, on the inside there, they, did some breaching and different things like that, and then we did reach out to, Jason Bednar or whatever and let him know if they wanna do anything down there, they're more than welcome to, you know, because we at least probably got a few weeks still before
Okay.
anything happens, so. We just asked that they didn't break any of the outside windows until maybe like the day before kind of thing, if they had
They
any
can do
trainings
an-
like
they can
that.
do an active shooter with live rounds.
Yeah.
So, I asked Justin, I said, so how did the training go or whatever, and he's like, went really well, he's like, you don't realize how dark a building is until it has no power to it. And, like, cause I believe they were gonna use, some of the different firemen's kids or whatever, and we're gonna hide them inside it or whatever. I said, well, you gotta take them to the lower level, I said, that thing will be pitch black. Like,
Oh, yeah.
so, and then like Mark had an office in the back part or whatever, and if you don't know where you're looking, you just go right past it, kind of thing, so.
I was a kid when my grandfather's house sold. My dad had the cops use it for drills and stuff like that because it was super awkward like, and tight. It's the funnest thing to be a kid. And he's like, yeah, just jump up and run when they find you. Scare the shit out of them.
So, but yeah, it sounded like they had a blast, I'm sure they were using like their thermal stuff, you know,
Yeah.
that way they could find them easy, so. But, yeah, that was pretty much our week in a nutshell. I mean, I did, an onboarding deal for our NERIS program. It was somewhat useful, other than they hadn't updated our part of the system yet. So I'm sitting in there, like, trying to follow what they're doing or whatever in our program, and it looked nothing like what they were doing. I'm just like, I don't have that option to click, like, that's not there for me, so. I sat through it or whatever for an hour and a half, and I finally put in the comments, I'm like, so, mine doesn't look like yours, like, what am I supposed to do? And the next day they reached back out or whatever and sent me the update, which I assumed would update Justin's as well, and it still has not updated his, so.
What's NERIS stand for?
Is it the
What
National
system is-
Emergency
okay.
Reporting System? It's
Okay.
how we have the firemen fill out fire reports
Used to be like Niffers, right?
Yep, it was
Yeah, we're
Niffers.
okay, yeah.
And they would give me the hard copies, and then I import everything into the computer, and then it goes off to the national system.
Okay.
Which I had a little issue with that yesterday. So I've been putting everything in our new Red Alert system or whatever, and you're supposed to be able to just click on them, and then you can export it all onto the website then. And I went to do that yesterday, and it wouldn't accept the file.
Huh.
So I'm a little panicked. I'm not real sure if I'm gonna have to redo every one of those and go back onto the Niffers website. I'm really hoping I'm not going to.
There's
'Cause
probably a solution.
I hope so, cause like they wanted you to take the file and make it into like a zip file. So we did that. And then it said it didn't like the language on it or whatever, like the first line of it or whatever. So we changed it to what it wanted and still didn't like it. So
Picky.
I mean, the Niffers website has been terrible from the word go. I mean, so I'm assuming it's something on their end, and I did reach out to them. Who knows what will happen? It's ran by FEMA, so I may get an answer. I may get one in 3 years. You never know with those guys. So, but if it won't hurt us because I have entered them in, and we do have all the hard
Yeah,
copies
yeah.
if they. So if anything ever comes up to where they say, well, now you're not grant eligible for this and this, well, yes I am. Like, I still have the information, it has been loaded up, your system just won't accept it, so.
Okay, so does the file you loaded up, is it like a CSV or a?
Yes,
Okay. Sometimes we did that, we used to have to do that all the time, and it had to do with field data mapping. But typically, their export is a perfect match.
yeah, I mean, cause like, the whole Red Alert system, like it has the NIFR section and now it has the Nugnera section or whatever. And it's supposed to be just, you know, compatible with it or whatever, like, all I would have to do is fill out their version of their form or whatever, and then export all the data and upload it, and it would be like that kind of thing, cause, I mean, doing a report on there takes me maybe 5 minutes if it's complex. When you're on the actual website trying to do it, it could take upwards to 40 minutes because of how slow it reacts to things. Just changing from like when I have to, because after you do one section, you have to save it, and then depending on what it is, like say it's a hazmat issue, then I gotta fill out that part, and it could take 10 minutes for it to load that. Like, it's ridiculously slow. So that was the whole point of what we were doing, because when I first started, I went back and I did all of the reports, like 2006. So it took me quite a while to get everything updated and get them all caught up. And when I saw that yesterday, I'm like, I have probably 130 reports. I'm like, there's no possible way I'm getting those all back in there. Like, that would take me 2 months probably to do, so. And I believe, what is it, January 15th or something like that, then it doesn't matter anyways, because they'll be on the new system, so.
I have to get downstairs for another appointment. If you
Very
need me, feel free to call downstairs.
Well, thank
All
you.
right.
So, but yep, that is our week in a nutshell, and
The only observation I have is, and I know you're working on it, is if you can expedite this permit, because there's likely to be negative public.
oh yeah, I'm
Boy,
sure.
I guess.
I'm sure, yeah. Oddly enough, I haven't had Mr. Petrie come in the last week or two, so I'm pretty thrilled about that. And I mean, not that, you know, I don't like Mark or anything like that. You know, I get along with him just fine. It's just,
Too much more.
it's just like, you know, we paid you. Like, it's over with, you're good. You got what you were getting. Just leave it up to me. I'll get it done. Like, there's only so much I can do, and as fast as I can go kind of thing, especially when they put like, oh, it's a minimum 10 days on this. I'm like, why?
Yeah, but you know, you think about it, if that permit can't really be expedited, he's probably not doing anything until we're about ready to go into the.
Right? Yeah, and that was another thing I was concerned about, because I wanted to get it done, you know, I mean, what we were at,
This
in
is
February.
It's just crazy, this whole process.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, they can call it Swift all they want, but it's not
It's
Swift by any means.
Almost as crazy as that sign